Thing is on because I want to post this tonight. This is really important subject. First, I'm the former director of policy for the Congress of Racial Equality, California. That's 117 years of civil rights. I got 54 years myself. Okay. I'm the guy shutting down the board of supervisors on the homeless issue. See, I got building for $65,000 each, not $500,000. These people are going nuts because I want to get these people off the street. I've been working with Antonio Velasquez, having to do with ours concern with here. That's a great building. Better save that thing and not lose it, okay? The city's a bunch of fools for not doing anything because I know all their corruption, man. They go crazy when I show up down there. Same with the police commission. Because I got Beck in a felony, okay? Sir, they're racing the auto in the meeting.
Sir, can I ask you to keep to the topic of the discussion?
I'll keep to the topic, dude. Believe me, I know what I'm doing, okay? Because I've been in this longer than you guys.
Sir,
you guys have these books? Just a second. Any of you people ever seen these? County budget and homeless stuff, huh? Can't do nothing here, and I don't hear anybody talking about the money. Okay? So what's the total money for this entire project, for all these things? How's it divided up? Who's the contractors? What's dollars per square foot? Where are the RFPs? Before you do anything, you better know that, man. Because if there's one thing this whole place is about, it's blowing away money, and I got it. So, we need to help as many people as possible. You guys have that many artists? Wow! Because these kids' brains, and how are you working this towards the very young, the under 5? About a third of them, by your stats that you showed, are under 5, okay? So if the brain is 80% developed by 5, which is why I got Antonio Velasquez to go from middle school with his limited resources in high school to pre-K through 3rd grade, because once you infect them, okay,
so talk around.
the right and left-hand sides of the brain come together, and that's it.
Thank you, sir. Okay, General Jeff, please.
Thank you. My name is General Jeff. What I heard, I don't know what everybody else heard, but what I heard was the city of Los Angeles admit that they neglected our Skid Row property for 22 years. The ballot voters the voters that approved this ballot measure in 1996 was 22 years ago. The kids that they voted this for are fully grown now. That doesn't even make sense how you can try to justify with a presentation here talking about, oh, this is what the voters wanted in 1996. This property is in Skid Row. You can't tell us that this does not, you can't tell us that this is the perfect fit for what's going on in today's Skid Row. We need this LV doc to fully represent what we need in this community. If there's an option for this not to be part of this Prop K process, then we need to explore that. Yeah, we hear what you all are talking about. You're talking about the same thing. You're trying to push this through. We don't care about that. Now, it's nowhere in writing. The only thing that's in writing is that it says arts programming for youth. It doesn't say anything about adults. DCA said, oh, there's an option there. Put it in writing. It doesn't say it in writing. If it doesn't say it in writing, the city is disingenuous, and you're trying to lie to the Skid Row community. You're trying to gentrify in our community, and we're not having it.
General Jeff.
Hell is wrong with you?
I love you, brother.
Thank you, General Jeff. Mellow Desire, Reverend Mellow Desire.
Good. That was good.
Since 2013, I was here working for youth. Not intentionally, but I was forced to. Us being homeless myself, at the time, I noticed there was a group of kids hanging out in front of our chair daily. And I asked them, what are your talents? And a lot of them were rappers, singers, and dancers. A total of 11 kids. Under the age of 18, a lot of them were foster youth runaways. We started developing plays and working with them, and 4 years later, we are still looking for a facility. Since 2016, we have submitted a proposal in inquiring with Hilda, well, it was at the time Gloria Molina, concerning the firehouse. I speak on behalf of the children, and we work on programs, and the only place that we were able to work with them on was Union Rescue Mission, where you do have the directors, and I'm not knocking Andy Bales, but because the greater need of homelessness, a lot of the families and the children are not individualized. So they receive services on a grander bulk, while a lot of the arts that can help the kids, like acting, which I teach, help a lot of the kids communicate. And the kids that were hanging out in front of Art Share, that was our rehearsal space for 2 years before a new developer took over and stopped the rehearsals with the children. Since then, the firehouse has been always something that I've been public about for the youth. When people decide to be leaders of a most vulnerable city and nobody's there to oppose them, that is what Skid Row is about. You have feedings every day. You have a lot of adults in tents that are there year after year after year, because nobody's really trying to reach out to the individual homeless, because they're more money as a shelter bed, hygiene kit. They cost money for whoever's trying to take care of them. The children are the ones here that have nothing still, despite all of the crime that happens out here. Union Rescue Mission and School on Wheels was the only facility given to them. Firehouse 23 is very important for the youth. I agree 1,000% that we focus on the young people, because when we're dead and buried, who we're going to pass on our traditions to.
Thank you, Mello. Thank you very much.
Was that 2 minutes? All right, so, thank you.
Fantastic.
Very well, Casito.
2 minutes, I better start talking now.
Oh, gee, crank it up.
He said,
Crank it up,
I
son.
was close to 96. I was in there in 2007, 2008. We hold all kind of activities in there on top of the roof, everything else.
And they were all illegal?
All illegal. Yeah. We were there to post the park. The fact is, like you said, you've been letting it deteriorate. I thought you were going to let it fall down, okay? And then do what you want to do with it. I support propagation. See, I got kids, okay? And, you run a landmark project, no kids allowed. Okay? This building right here, no kids allowed. You want something for adults? Take this building back. It was bought by the city. It was given to SRO. Take it back and do something here for the adults that want to do something. Firehouse needs to stay with the kids. That's me. Okay? You ain't no community without no kids. And you keep on jumping over the kids, doing everything for grown adults. I'm an artist. I paint on the street. Okay? He's a kid. He's very talented. He needs something. So I go to a lot of different centers. So, I support propagation, but I agree. Cultural fairs, I don't trust y'all, because I just hear down there, you got all kinds of different groups, but you don't give no artists on Skid Row. So, if you want to do some programming, get with the artists on Skid Row. And yeah, this family, somebody already got some kids. Okay, everybody, you got some kids to stay on it. Okay? So, anybody else got no kids, everybody talking about everything, ain't got no kids. Okay?
Can we have a speaker card for the little guy? I mean, he is too much. See, that's what it's all about, huh? Yeah, dude, you're it.
Tom Brody?
Oh, man. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I want to point one thing out. I was very happy to hear what you said about intergenerational programs. Mike would know this, Charlie Porter's not here tonight, but there's been a nonprofit called Youth Think that has done very dynamic intergenerational programming, literally not in a building, but literally on the streets with Skid Row adults. So that's one thing. But I want to kind of piggyback on what Oki said. None of these people are associated with children. Children artists, children as children, children as nothing. There's no kid thing going on here. So my suggestion, whether you vote tonight or however it's going to work out, would seem to me, since there is this, apparently legal focus that needs to happen on children and arts programming for children, that you would consider creating a subcommittee or a task, maybe multiple task force to dive deep into some of these programming and cultural issues, since specifically regarding children, You're literally not qualified. And that raises the question as well, if the city knew all this stuff, you came into existence a year ago, if the city knew it had to go in this direction, why in the world didn't they pick multiple people who have a background in children's training? There's no kindergarten teachers here, there's no nonprofits associated with children, there's no grandparent of the year. I mean, why did the city not choose anybody like that to be on this committee?
Yeah.
Catherine McKinney.
I'm sorry, the lady in the gold? Oh,
Yeah, you can come up here.
okay.
Thank you, Tom.
So this is the first meeting about the firehouse I've been to. What I'm going to say might have been said already. Something you said, the gold sweater, I'm sorry.
Bernice Hollins.
Okay, it disturbed me when you said that this youth arts center is not just for Skid Row, it's for the region. That was extremely disturbing to me because, you know what, we already have a youth arts center for children outside of Skid Row called the Inner City Arts.
Right.
It's a huge youth facility. Please research it extensively. I have a good friend, her sister lives in Beverly Hills, actually in Beverly Hills. Her child goes there to the Inner City Arts. Just as an example. It doesn't serve the community. However, it is a youth arts center in Skid Row, well, technically across the street. We don't need another one. If this is going to serve youth, it needs to serve these youth right here. It needs to serve the youth and their parents. It's got to, because we already have the other thing. This is an extremely disadvantaged community. We need to serve who's here. And another thing I wanted to mention is there has been a recent project in the community that has benefited greatly and been a huge success because it partnered with the community. These people called the Refresh Spot. It's 24 hours, showers, and restrooms. It's hugely successful. It partnered with the community. That's why it's successful. We had another project down the street. It's a 24 hours sobering center. Huge flop. They didn't partner with the community. So I just want to leave it at that. Thank you.
Wow. It's a bulldog.
And the last card is Lorraine Field, and then we'll pull it back to the people over here.
John, I want to say something. You ought to try to do it.
I was just asking Phyllis in the meeting, my main, concern, since it's concerning the children, that's my guys go right there. Grandbaby, Erin, which is 7 years old now, to me, she was like the first, I would say Skid Row child, because we was at Gladys Park, and they said there wasn't no kids down there, but actually it was. And I don't know who it was, but we had a good time with the kids. They brought gang stuff and painting, and kids did come out, and people, grown, addicts, whatever, respectable toward the kids. We respect the kids. We love the kids down here on Skid Row. And so, when LAPD took over, took over the Hidden Treasures, that was us. We organized in 2009 in the alleyway. That was us, and it had prospered, taken over by the city like they mostly do. But anyway, yes, things are needed for our children, community. This is supposed to be organized for Skid Row, not for you to hire your people, your family, your friends, and put them into positions with all this money. Money. Everybody wants the money. Be concerned about the people. What about the pipe, this recycled water that's tearing up our hair, our skin? Some people drink this water straight from the sewer. How could you? Fix the pipes. Fix the pipes. Who's in control of that? Stop being greedy. Consider yourself. And that's my thing. Consider yourself when you get this money. God don't give it to you to be greedy. It's to be for the community.
Thank you very much.
Wow.
First of all,
Fantastic.
the last time I was here, I wanted to know whether the children, she said regional, which we already understood, that means busing the children all the way down here. General Jeff is absolutely right about putting it in writing. If you're going to do this thing, do it right, and do it with adult programming, because that's who's here. And so it doesn't make any sense to keep doing what you're doing. The other thing you did was you didn't have Junior Rescue Mission, because that's where the children are. If you don't have any input from those people, then how are you really doing this for children? And like you said, it's an archaic idea. He had some good ideas, and General Jeff said, put it in writing. If you're going to do something, partner with the community. The one thing that's always done to Skid Row, and that makes it always a flop, you always go out and you say, 10 years later, you say, well, what happened to all the money? We know what happened, it was stolen. So then all of a sudden, when you come out and you get something like the Refresh Spot, there's 1,000 people a day. 1,000 people a day. Can you imagine 1,000 people going through a system that was developed by the community, for the community? Another thing is, they got 80% community hire. Who's going to work at this place? So let's get some genuine stuff going on here. We're all supposed to be human beings, but if you let what you got going on keep going on, you're going to find yourself in a dead issue as far as humanity goes. And the soulless creature is going to suffer in the end. Watch.
Wow.
Thank you, Christopher Mack, and thank you all the community members. And now I think we're going to turn it back to this committee to figure out.
John, is it okay if I say something really quick? Is it okay if I say something?
Yeah, go ahead, 1 minute.
Okay. Hi, Nate Hayward from Council District 14. I really want to thank everybody for coming out tonight and expressing your input, ideas, suggestions about what you want to see and what you don't want to see here. At the Engine Company 23, I also want to thank the city staff for coming out and giving a very thorough presentation. What I want to tell you all as the LB9, first of all, thank you for your service, and I understand, your uncomfort when it comes to representing, the community of Skid Row. As an office, we're very hopeful that this facility will provide an opportunity for the youth of Skid Row, for the families of Skid Row, for intergenerational programming, to really provide an opportunity to bring resources to Skid Row now. There is a substantial amount of money that is dedicated to this project specifically that will allow us to really develop something that will be serving. Everyone here brought up, it has to serve the community, it has to serve the community, it has to have the programming necessary to do so. Great, that's absolutely what we want to see as a city. The first thing in order to be able to do that is to physically figure out, from a space perspective, what are the types of things people want to see and don't want to see. Because if you want to have, spoken word versus, for theater space versus photography versus, dance performances, that's really going to dictate a lot, right? And that's why it's important to figure out what are the types of general uses that people want to see down here in Skid Row. That provides us the opportunity to figure out, like what Leslie's talking about, what you guys are talking about how that works, how that programming works, how are we engaging people, how are we bringing the intergenerational aspect to this facility to really provide this example of what youth arts facilities should be. So we're very excited. We thank you very much for your participation in this panel. I know it's been a lot of meetings, a lot of presentations, going around talking about everything.
A minute's up. We'll stick to the rules.
Thank you.
You guys don't know the rules, city.
So, I think we have So basically, I think, as Dave mentioned, we did explore some of that earlier at the last meeting, but then somehow we got in this loop where, again, it was in question of whether this community was going to have access.
Right.
And so I think right now we have to digest some of the things that have been said, such as putting it in writing, such as the city has created a great model when they actually work with the community for the restaurant, such as what Leslie said, that there are people that have aggregated and worked with, there are people that work in the community that work with many of the artists there and and know what the capacity of the people in the community are to make art and to lead stuff and all that. So I think we have now to decide what we're going to do, whether we want to have another meeting, keep it going, whether we have to decide what we want to do. So I think we need some motions from the
Can I have a point of clarification really quick? Regardless of what happens with the actual physical design building of what actually has to happen, I think we would obviously be very supportive of a continuing committee, dialogue, whatever you guys want to call it,
There you go.
to specifically discuss the programming. That's something to fleshing out in terms of what works, what doesn't work. So regardless of, I want to just make it clear that just because the LBNOC addresses the design issues does not mean the conversation should stop regarding programming. And I think that that's something that if you guys are interested in, asking the city to continue at least setting up the meetings, facilitating it for the community, we're more than happy to do.
And if I might add also, our architects are here. One of the things we need to know or hear from you all is what sort of real art programs do you want? Do you want a dance room with a sprung floor and ballet bars and mirrors and things like that? Do you want arts and crafts rooms with cabinets and sinks and things like that? What sort of art programs does this community
So
support?
there was in the minutes, there is a list of...
Let's make sense out of it, General.
Understood, and I'd like to keep that discussion going because I think we have a few
Let's
extra
just,
people.
for the benefit of people who were not here last time, why don't we list the things that were
Sure.
spoken about?
That would be great.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so, somebody have the minutes with them? I have a list, I do have the minutes, but in front of me I have a list that is community space, recording studio, rehearsal spaces, writing class, ESL immigration, print workshops, as in printing, like graphic design for t-shirts, for example, music classes, theater, the quiet room, library, gallery, and studio. So it was a broad array, but...
For adults.
Yes. Exactly, because programming is for who?
That's
Right.
What?
Yeah. Until we say what it is, if we don't know it, we can use it.
Which also gets to the local versus regional thing, which is
Yeah.
all there. So that was most of this. Was there other stuff in the minutes that was in there?
And I feel like a teacher printing room for adults and youth looks and functions exactly the same. You know what I mean? And I just,
We can't get into it.
knowing that DCA is in the room and a lot of the work that they do is really about how do we nurture culture to build communities and strengthen neighborhoods, right? And I think something that people don't talk enough about is the amount of talent and culture that exists in Skid Row, right? I would say in LA it's probably one of the top tourist attractions, but people come to see the negative sides. And there aren't enough opportunities to see the places of brilliance and talent and creativity and culture. And this is an opportunity for it to be a place-specific cultural institution that actually highlights the incredible talent that is here. And a place to nurture, whether it's the young people, but also the old people, the grandparents, and create intergenerational spaces of exchange. Because that not only strengthens and uplifts the community, but then as a whole of Los Angeles, it becomes a regional place of community building. But it's rooted in the history and identity of Skid Row, which there is no other place like this in the world, right? So why wouldn't we create a physical place, infrastructure? We've always talked about the Skid Row cultural museum, you know what I mean? Why not create the opportunity if the millions of dollars are just right there, and that's sort of everybody wins. You know what I mean? It would just be such a shame if it became just a generic art center where you're doing tap dancing, and it could happen anywhere. It could be whether it's Pomona or Alabama, it doesn't matter. But the fact that it's in Skid Row makes it so special. And so, like, why wouldn't we harness, like, the incredible magic that's in this neighborhood and, like, monumentalize that, right? I just feel like that'd be such a missed opportunity.
I have one question. You said this is a regional project, not a local project.
No, let me clarify.
In the documents, it's a local.
Let me clarify. We only have a limited number of junior art centers in the facility. I'm sorry, within the city. So a youth that's on, say, Washington Boulevard, okay, this is going to be the closest facility for them to access. The next closest facility will be over in Boyle Heights or down in Watts. So I'm saying the majority, you would expect that the majority of the patrons will come from the immediate community around you, but there's also communities that are adjacent that don't have junior art centers directly in their communities, so they would be likely to come over to this facility and utilize it. And based on the demographics, we're still talking about poor youth.
This is not a junior arts center, this is a youth arts center. Different.
Mm-hmm.
Being disingenuous again.
If we're speaking English.
We already know there's a difference. It's not a junior arts center.
And by the way, Inner City Arts.
We use the term junior art and we use sometimes interchangeably, so again, I'll take the correction.
You're wordsmithing, huh?
Thank you. Right. Good, Carol.
You should add Inner City Arts is not in your survey report for some reason. It was left off entirely. Inner City Arts Center.
It was probably based on the radius that was defined.
No,
We did.
it's a few blocks away.
It's on 7th and Kohler.
It should be in there.
It's on
It was
Kohler, yeah.
oversight. It wasn't in there.
And it is an oversight, because for everyone's information, Prop K actually paid for a portion of the Inner City Arts facility.
So if you make that oversight, how many more have you made?
Megan.
If you can't figure out a line, which is the simplest thing in the world to do, dudes, because I've been doing this a long time, okay? You can't figure it out?
Stop.
Can we all be nice to each other?
This is important, okay?
Sir, I'd like to meet you afterwards and say hello, but I really...
Yeah, you're gonna give me all the budget stuff, dude.
I'm more than happy to do that.
Oh, that's gonna be fun.
We have to get out of this facility.
We have-
You got 5 minutes, Chris.
I think we should maybe try to put together a motion for the next, I think obviously if this is going to go forward, we need more meetings to determine, I think what's going to happen. I think we need a motion, help me out, it includes things like getting something in writing from DCA about how they, about planning and programming that will include, that will be for the community, be led by the community. Use this committee to also try and work with the people who worked out the refreshment and get the kind of partnering between the city and the community that Elisa Ordonez, who was working for the mayor's office, found to work successfully with the community to create a hugely
What did Elisa do while she was here?
Mission statement.
So I think we need to do both those things, and of course we have to so we don't have to keep coming around spending meetings going around the same circle. We have to know for sure that this is going to be, this is going to be possible and not run into some legal, something or another. So we have to have the city say yes. This is not just Leslie and DCA, not just somebody else, but the entire city saying yes, this is what we want, and
put it in writing.
And put it in writing, and then we can really revisit at length the conversation that we had last time that was very inspiring about imagining the details of the building. That will allow the architects to find out, to realize the vision of what it is. So at least those things. And then with regard to community input, and an official role, it is a shame that after all the things that went on before, that when there was an opportunity to replace someone on the committee, and we love Scott, but it wasn't somebody from the community, or it wasn't another person like me who has no children. Okay, so. I think we need to find, maybe in this construction of really figuring it out and how to bring it forward, then that implicitly implies that people living in this community are the ones that are going to participate and make it work. Otherwise, it's going to be like the flop destocks facility,
The sobering center that no one
Yeah.
can get into.
So, I think,
So
That's
the
our
question is,
work.
what do we want to have for
It's
this?
sobering.
yeah.
What would you guys like the city to bring back in terms of information or whatever, so that way city staff can prepare the proper information?
I think it would be good to have some kind of document explaining what, like, a commitment to a community process around the development of the program for this space, and an actual outline of what that will look like in terms of a committee, like a community advisory committee.
Like a draft, sort of.
Yeah, because I think we want to see that through. It's important. I think I also have questions. I also had hesitations about joining this committee. I work closely, obviously, in Little Tokyo, and we are strong advocates for self-determination. It felt like, I can speak from my experience organizing in Little Tokyo. I do have a background in working in arts education and an after-school nonprofit, but I also can't speak for this community and the community that it should be serving. So I felt like, I think there is a question of why there isn't a resident on this committee, and what would be the process to have that, because I'm obviously happy to be here. I am here, and I'm happy to give input, but I think I would also rather have my space to give voice to somebody who actually will be most impacted by this.
With Refresh Spot, it was a series, a very long series of meetings, open to anybody who lived in the community or hoped they had a stake in the community.
But I didn't even know about the membership until now. How does somebody join if you're not advertising?
What are you talking about? This committee?
This committee
Explain after?
Let me, I can explain really quickly. So, Prop K actually has a process for selecting the LVNOC members, and the council office and the client agency, in this case Department of Cultural Affairs, each appoint members. So they're the ones who actually identify members. And
Feel political
we get
game.
down the parameters and try and, bring in people that serve the community, live in the community, or work in the community, or community members in general, but it's up to the council office and the client to identify those. And I'll be honest, we had some difficulty finding people. One of the things that I would like to try and explore either in our next meeting,
Yeah, she's a
or
city
maybe
councilor.
talking to John or some of the community members like Jeff, is how do we actually get more participation? Because I personally spend 2 days, 3 or 3.5 hours each day posting flyers. I went to every SRO that would open the door. I went to Weingard. I went everywhere I could to post notices, and we don't have a ton of people.
Well,
So how do we get more participation from this
There are
community?
specific women that will be perfect because they are still living in tents to this day. I would like to bring them to the table because now I know about it. I didn't know about it before, and now that we do have an open dialogue, we like to bring the right people to the table who want to serve the community.
The meeting's from 5:30 to 7:30, maybe we can have dinner. I think we're all hungry,
So what is the outcome of this meeting? What? BJ?
I'd like to propose that we don't have a draft from the city, but
Right.
specifically a commitment that whatever conversation moves forward with this LVNOC and whatever subcommittees we should appoint, to Tom's point, either as a subcommittee of this LVNOC or replacing members on this LVNOC, that there is a committee that adult programming will absolutely happen in this space, that the adult programming will be determined by the community, and that there will be representatives at the table who have interests, vested interests in working with youth who are in this community and representing adults who are in this community. And that we actually have a conversation that has a commitment, what was the point? To actually establishing that this committee will have, that the new committee will be able to set precedent for what the design then actually looks like. Because we can't reach a consensus on what the design is if we don't have the voice of the community at the table and have the voice of people who have the interests of children at this table.
Design a program.
Design and programming. But we need to have a commitment in writing that there will be adult programming.
So is that a motion?
That is the motion.
How about the budget too? You better add the budget, guys.
They already did that before you got it.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Thank you.
So is that motion?
Nobody looks at it.
I was still asking.
Discussion.
Can we say it again, or?
Well, in
Probably can't
I haven't heard it yet, Joe.
Commitment to...
That's on tape.
I'm the only one stuck with money so far.
It's proposing a motion to this LBNOC that we have a commitment to adult programming in this facility, and that the adult programming will be designed by members of the LBNOC that represent the Skid Row community and represent the interests of children who live in Skid Row.
Does it just have to be LBNOC members, or can it be a more robust group for that programming design you're talking about?
I would say it could be a more robust group, but that more robust group has to be comprised of...
I understand. I'm just saying that, like, LBNOC is like a very...
It could be a
specific thing. Yeah, I want to make sure it has the ability to, like, what do you call it, be grassroots?
It has to, yeah, it has to.
But it also has to have agency.
Yeah.
Right, so it's not just about, it has to have agency, it's not just about forming a little subcommittee. The subcommittee actually has a job that...
And informs the process.
Right.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Which
Yeah.
was why I said LBNOC, because
It's official.
it should replace us.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Okay, so I'm seconding that.
Okay.
And then
Okay, so it's been- it's
the
been
youth
motion
programming
and
also
seconded.
serves the most local community as well. Like all programming should, first and foremost, the audience should be the people within walking distance as like the primary
Users?
And therefore determined by...
And determined by, yes,
Right.
exactly, so.
Determined and programmed.
Yes.
I think there are a lot of things that the way BJ's put it, it's omnibus, and it covers a lot of other things that are obviously real concerns, like what Leslie mentioned, the people who are in the community, these our teachers, our mentors, and things like that as well. But this sort of omnibus thing suggests that all that will be figured out by this people down the road.
Well, with the headline, the committed in writing headline, that there will be adult programming in this
Right.
commitment.
And what that might look like.
And that's going to be figured out.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's... but it has to-
I'm confused. Why are we pushing to have adult programming? Why can't we focus on some youth and then hire mentors or train adults as mentors? I'm saying this firehouse directly can serve the children of Union Rescue Mission who have nothing. Get to know their names, get to know their mission. None of you guys are interested in the homeless, but you're here stating that I'm representing the community of Skid Row, but you don't really talk to the homeless. And I see the same women, 7 years still homeless on the same thing. Who's really advocating for them? I'm trying to get to know who they are.
Well, I think everybody...
It's hypocritical, you guys trying to fight this firehouse and try to use it for adults when there's all the Jesus dogs, pedophiles and gangbangers and drug dealers are getting wind of that too. Focus on the kids. Even if you don't have any, you have nieces and nephews, and you know that they need something.
The focus is already on the kids. We talking about both.
And there's extra drive, Mello. There's extra drive.
Kids is already involved with prop K for kids.
To also be able to use the facility. I think that was...
In addition to,
Kids,
not
plus
instead
the
of.
women on the street could also come in, whereas otherwise they wouldn't be able to.
I mean, put them like in addition to...
Okay, so can we have the motion?
On the table.
Has been seconded. And
Adult in addition to youth, is that?
Yes,
clarify what you're saying?
yes.
a commitment to adult community and...
Yes.
Not saying we don't say it one more time.
Yeah, do it one whole so we have it all together.
Thank you, Mike.
For the little recording machine.
In writing commitment that there will be, in addition to youth programming, adult programming committed in the space, and that there will be a more robust LBNOC established or a subcommittee with agency that can speak to the interests of this community, which involve specifically youth living in the Skid Row community and adults in the Skid Row community who will design and program.
You forgot the budget for stuff. Don't forget the money.
There is money.
We're going to do it, we're going to do it separately.
Show us the money. Yeah, have you done their budgets before, lady? I've done the federal budget, lady.
Oh, please, okay, all those in favor, say aye. All those against?
She was a proxy vote.
Please, we need to get out in a few minutes because they're going to kick us out, so I really want to give them a chance to do.
One more very quick motion, which is at the next meeting, I'm going to move that the committee would like to see the current budget. We have in 16, 17, and 18, 3 different costs budgets and shortfall budgets and gap and inflation and interest budgets, and it would be really helpful for us to know if there is still a shortfall, where that's coming. We've not actually seen the current. That's it, not moving for that.
I want to see it from the beginning of time,
Okay.
Okay, all those in favor?
and I'm going to get it.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Okay, all those against? Everyone wants to see the money, okay, that's it.
These meetings are
It's all in money, General.
We really want to keep our architecture.
You know my background, huh?
So I'd like to make this.
I got SEIU the money.
Do you guys want to set like a tentative week, date, month?
It's all in money, General.
When you guys want to have, because just
Programs.
getting everybody here, getting forums to make sure.
Well, it has to happen in January, I think.
That's what you guys want, yeah.
I think an immediate doodle poll that has us
Yeah.
look at January would be wonderful.
I mean, is it possible to have it at URM and invite the children and families to be a part of it and actually ask the young people what they would want to do?
Yeah. Yeah.
If we can get space there, we're more than welcome, yes.
More than happy.
They sure talk to her and me in
Okay,
general.
so,
I know that.
If I could suggest, part of what we need, as Neil explained, he went through extensive effort trying to do outreach to the community. So for those who are here, if you could help us also get the word out, bring people in who can provide input, and actually, let us know what the needs are. That is really what the city team is trying to do. But like I said, with all the postings that we did, we can see the participation that we have.
We'll put it down at the Board of Supervisors, so it goes to everybody, right? City Hall.
So about the doodle poll, do we need a motion? You don't need a motion.
That's
We
how
don't
to spread
need
big
a
time.
motion. Richard Campbell is back, he's our project manager, and Richard will send out a doodle poll for, do you think, mid-January? Early January? What do you guys think?
Probably mid-January.
Mid-January. Okay, so mid-January, Richard.
Is it possible to make space in the agenda for it to be more interactive and actually like a programming design workshop as opposed to a presentation? Do you know what I mean?
Maybe, I know the design workshop is, we should talk about that, maybe that's a separate activity that we...
They're Brown Act meetings, so you have to follow Brown Act procedure.
But we can-
However, that doesn't, I think, if you could like elaborate